So it's a rather evident truth, but it's still worth pointing out that God is greater than our hearts. And that's something that reading the Bible, I found it and I was like so amazed by it. And, this was something that I had explained to me many times, and to take it to heart is so huge. But 1 John 3:20 specifically says that for if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart and knows all things. So that is so powerful, because when you fail, when I fail, we're believers, and then we fail, and then it's so easy that to be condemned, and maybe that condemnation doesn't even have to come from the outside, but we ourselves condemn ourselves. Our hearts tell us that was worse than could be forgiven. That was worse than what even God, God doesn't want you anymore, because why would he want you anymore? Our hearts telling us, why would God want you any longer? I mean, this is, you have done that idiotic sin again for the 670,000th time, and why? Why would God even care about you? And this is because our conscience, when we get saved, it does not recognize the value and the power of the blood of Christ. Hebrews 9:14, there is like all these dead works where our conscience, our heart tells us that you need to pay. Well, I need to pay. I need to pay. I don't tell you. You can. Your heart can tell it to you very freely. It's like very easily. You have to pay. You have to make it right. You have to now behave for God, and you have to be a certain way for God. And when you're like that, then finally God will accept you back. But it's not a given. It's not true. And then this verse just specifically just totally deals with that whole idiotic picture, and says like, God is greater than our heart and knows all things. So whenever our heart condemns us, it does it because it doesn't know the cross. It doesn't know the power of the blood. It doesn't know the forgiveness of the Lord. So therefore our heart tells us, you are worthy of all condemnation. And God says, well, who's greater, your heart or I? Who's greater? Tell me. And in this verse, he gives us the answer. He says, I am greater than your heart, and I know the power of I know the value of the cross. I know the power of the blood. I know the depth of my forgiveness. So this is really awesome, because it means that no failure and no sense of condemnation can ever really separate us from God, except if we believe the lie. If we believe the lie that our heart tells us, then sure, it can separate us. But if we trust the word of God, then no, it cannot separate us, because once again, if our heart condemns us, God is greater than our heart, and he knows all things. He knows the things that our heart doesn't know, and he knows the power of the blood. And there is no question about that it is all paid for, and he's dealt with it, and we're free. And that relationship can always be restored without shadow of a doubt. God bless your day.